Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from Rapid Kirby 3K. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. It will be for pretty much any type of video. And this is a review of the 2005 film Stealth. Which, yes, I do have the DVD. Got this for pretty cheap back in the day. It is a 2-disc set. This making them from back in the day. Make a Move music video by Incubus. Featurette. There's really no reason why this needs to be a 2-disc set. I mean, I guess why? Well, yeah, widescreen and bonus disc. The bonus features are not that extensive. It needed 2 discs, but whatever. Now, this is a film that, when it came out, it was one of the biggest bombs of its time. This lost a lot of money. I know Jamie Foxx hates the film. It's a really bad movie. And I can see his point. Because this is not a film I could defend. It's a film that I can watch as a time waster, but would I call this a good or underrated film? No. But I can watch it as a time waster. Dumb. Kind of fun. And by the way, because Rapper Kirby mentioned this, no, this was never meant to be a Star Fox movie. I don't know why that was on IMDb for a while, but there's a lot of BS, just like Wikipedia, that people just throw on there for the shits and giggles. So you always have to be careful on stuff. I made that mistake as well. This was never meant to be a damn Star Fox movie. You know, the Nintendo game. Which I don't even know how that rumor came about, because nothing about this seems like Star Fox. I mean, I guess at one point it does a barrel roll when it gets back to formation with the other three, this artificial intelligence computer named Eddie, EDI. So the film is directed by Rob Cohen, and Rob Cohen is one of those guys kind of looked at as the less version of Michael Bay. Because you had the Fast and the Furious, you had Triple X, you had this movie. He started off doing films like Dreading Heart, Daylight, which I do like Daylight quite a bit. Dragging the Bruce Lee story. And then the first Fast and Furious is probably his most well-known hit. And I like Triple X, the first one. But yeah, some of his films like this one and The Mummy 3 became huge box office bombs. Didn't he do another one? The Hurricane Heist? Was that Rob Cohen? I can't remember. If so, that was another big bomb as well. So I think his directing career is pretty much fucking dead. Just from Stealth and The Mummy 3 alone. And like I said, this was a massive bomb when it came out. Now it stars Josh Lucas, Jessica Biel, and Jamie Foxx. And I thought these three did fine for what they needed to do. There's not a lot of character depth. There's not a lot of character development. They're pretty one note in terms of characters. Josh Lucas, I think he's a guy that works better as supporting role. I don't think he's leading man material. And he's not bad in the film. I don't think he's awful in the film. It's just, he doesn't have that it factor that makes a star. I liked him in supporting roles, Hulk from 2003, among other films, but this film, Poseidon, yeah, there's about 15 minutes where they try to make him the next big star. It just did not quite work out. Jessica Biel, I don't mind. I mean, granted, she's much more of a... She's a beautiful lady. Honestly, I would say acting-wise, she's a bit more of a talented Ronda Rousey. Because she kind of reminds me of Ronda Rousey, but she's a bit prettier. She doesn't have the big fat ass mole, and I do think she's a better actress than Ronda Rousey. Because Ronda Rousey is more of a fighter. But I liked her in Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2003. She was in the A-Team movie. She was in the Total Recall remake, and I never minded her. I could deal with her. She's not Sandra Bullock. She's not Sigourney Weaver. Far from it. But I'll take her. I'll take her over Jennifer Lawrence. Let's see. Jamie Foxx. I believe he did this before Ray, but it came out after Ray because it took a lot longer to finish the special effects and all that jazz. I could be wrong, but I think, again, he filmed it before Ray, but then this came out after Ray, and Ray won him an Oscar. And people forget Jamie Foxx from the early 2000s. He was just trying to find any movie to make. I mean, I'm trying to think, when was Collateral? If he had done Collateral by then. God, I'm trying to remember what year Collateral was in. Because that's a really good one with him and Tom Cruise. Really liked him in Day Shift. By the way, I hope he's doing better. I know recently Jamie Foxx had a stroke. Really, really sucks. I do hope he's doing better, man. I do think he's a talented guy. I've liked him. I even liked him in this film called Bait from 2000, directed by Antoine Fuqua, where he's used as bait from the government to get this bad guy, who's Doug Hutchinson, Tooms, in the X-Files Squeeze and Tooms episodes, who's looking for this gold, and kind of Eddie Murphy being the con artist, but try to put aside his con artist days to try to be a little bit on the straight and narrow. I won't get too far into it because it's not a review for Bait, but that's a film I did enjoy. I remember not minding the film. I forget what it's called, where he's left at this not supermarket, but I swear he's left at a gas station or something, and then all these crazy things happen. I forget what that movie was called. I really liked him in Day Shift that came out last year. Any Given Sunday. I said I liked him in quite a few films, so I think this film would have helped a lot. Not saying it would save it. I'm saying it would help a lot if he was the star of the film. And you know what? You want to be daring with this film? Have it seem like Josh Lucas and Jessica Biel are going to be the two leads, and you tell they have a little romantic interest with each other, and then they get killed off, and then Jamie Foxx is by himself, and he has to deal with this AI intelligence stealth bomber. Because I mean, I haven't even gotten to the plot yet. I don't know why I'm flabbergasted, fucking fumbling my words in this. These three play stealth bombers. They get a new wingman, and it's Eddie, EDI, an artificial intelligence. One leads to another. They do a mission. It's successful. They're going back. Lightning strikes it. So like Johnny Five, or actually like Chopping Mall. Remember that film? Where they get hit by lightning, then they turn into a bit crazy. Starts doing missions on its own, and they have to stop it. You have Sam Shepard as their commander, but he's a bit shady. You also have Joe Morton, Miles Dyson from Terminator 2. He's also a command officer, but he's more of the good command officer, while Sam Shepard's more of the shady officer. And the film features some wanty dialogue, like they mention Eddie is a deep invader, and like, yeah, I've been called that a few times. They try to build up this bit where Jamie Foxx believes in prime numbers, but doesn't really go anywhere. I guess they wanted to give him some kind of trait before what happens. they make this decision that Eddie likes to download songs illegally. Ooh. And the song he likes to listen to a lot is Incubus. Like, goddamn, even some AC/DC Metallica or some shit, but Incubus, okay. And, the CGI was, I'm sure, fairly good for its time. When you watch it nowadays, it's rough around the edges because it's 2005 CGI. So when you watch it today, it's a bit rough around the edges, and that's why I do usually prefer practical effects, practical work. Because I look at Top Gun. I just did a commentary for that not too long ago, and those aerial sequences still hold up fairly well. This is all done for real. Blue Thunder from 1983, starring Roy Scheider. I still look at those scenes with the helicopter going in between buildings and it being shot at. They're both going between these buildings and there's explosions everywhere and going under bridges and going by buildings. And aside from a handful little shots, for the most part, it's done practical for real and still holds up. You still watch it, ooh, that's cool. While here you go, oh, dude, it's very, very computer video game like, which I'm sure was state of the art of its time, but nowadays. And the director, Rob Cohen, tries to do the stuff he did in Fast and Furious, where the camera's in the car, outside the car, goes into the car, goes through all the cylinders, and then comes out of the car, or it's going from one car, then goes to the other. It tries to do this, but with the stealth bombers. So it's going like inside, and let's not cut, and it goes to here, or they're flying, and then one flies by, but then the camera pushes forward more to see the other pilot behind them to make it seem like there's no cuts in it. But at the same time, sometimes an action is a little bit shaky, a little bit, once in a while, disoriented, sometimes with the swirling camera. And like I said, Josh Lucas, he's a serious guy and the leader. Jessica Biel, you get a hint that she likes Josh Lucas and he likes her. Jamie Foxx is a little bit of a womanizer. Yes, I bow down to the opposite sex, but sometimes I think they should bow before me. But Jamie Foxx is trying. You tell he got the charisma. He does have the star factor. Like I said, with better dialogue and just put him as the lead, I think that would have been a lot more interesting of a movie. I truly do. Because I don't think Josh Lucas has the charisma. I think that's what I'm thinking of. He's not that bad of an actor. Just he's lacking the star charisma, and I think that's why again his leading roles were limited. So again, we see him on the training mission. Then they're told they're going to get a new wingman. Then they find that the new wingman is an artificial intelligence. Then they go on a mission. But it's funny, on the mission, Eddie doesn't really do much. They're telling him, the commanding unit is telling him to do stuff. He gets some information. But then Josh Lucas doesn't trust this thing, so he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And does this maneuver where he rises up, then drops a missile right into this building, and the whole building explodes. And this does have some cool explosions, practically done explosions. And as a guy that likes a lot of these B-movie types, I like the idea. As goofy and silly as it is, when I first saw this, I thought the idea was appealing. They took a big budget movie and they said, let's make it about Christine the car, but if it was a fucking stealth bomber, or this AI stealth bomber going rogue, and it's a sci-fi B-movie idea, but it's got all sorts of possibilities for fun. Might be dumb, might be unrealistic, but could be a lot of fun. But I think at times they try to take you a bit too seriously, believe it or not, and kind of. I'm not saying make it a parody, but there's a thin line between we know what kind of movie we're doing, and we're gonna have a lot of fun, but at the same time, in a way, kind of like Jamie Foxx's Day Shift. It knew what it was. It wasn't straight out parody, but it had fun. And you see, it gets those awesome scenes like Scott Adkins and the other guy fighting these vampires, doing all these moves, and Jamie Foxx doing this. That needed that extra kick of energy to be showcased in this. So again, they do their mission. It's successful. Our three characters relax in Thailand. You get to see Jessica Biel in a bikini, so props to that. And her and Josh Lucas don't really have a lot of chemistry with each other. Kind of a little bit of a dead zone there. Jamie Foxx trying to pick up this lady. They go on another mission. There's nuclear warheads. By this point, again, Eddie got struck with lightning. Did a little bit of Johnny Five, a little bit of Choppy Mall, which is a very fun 80s movie. I like Short Circuit as well, both fun 80s movies. And our characters look at it and go, you know what, if we hit this, there's going to be a fallout, radioactive dust, there's going to be a lot of collateral damage, let's not do it. But Eddie wants to follow orders. He's like, no, we got orders, I'm not going to listen to you. Our plan is to destroy the enemy. Shoots, destroys it, radioactive dust falls to the people. And this is especially when the camera's going to the inner workings of stuff, much like Fast and Furious was going from outside to the inside. Let's say the CGI bit shaky nowadays. Maybe not so much back then, but nowadays a bit shaky. And here's the thing, if you want to see a movie that, yes, is goofy of a setup, but felt much more prominent in pushing the action and the spectacle, and the effects were top notch, and the characters had a bit more charisma to them, go watch Volcano from 1997. No, there would never be a fucking volcano that would erupt in LA. With Tommy Lee Jones and Don Cheadle and Anne Heche, like, especially Tommy Lee Jones. They were front and center, and they had the star. Tommy Lee Jones had the star power, and it felt like it had a bit more oomph in the effects, and there's a lot more practicality going on, and not as much CGI it seemed compared to other movies, and that felt like much more of a fun popcorn entertainment movie compared to this. I just compared the two because they're both big time, big budget movies with goofy setups and ideas. But in Volcano, I think is much more successful in achieving that, while this, not so much. So they know, spoiler alert, Eddie is going rogue, the three are chasing after it. Jamie Foxx, for some reason being stupid, it feels, this is a character that's, he's trying to talk to this plane, trying to calm him down. It doesn't want to listen. But then it seems like he's doing stupid decisions. It wasn't really established that he would do dumb decisions like this. That he believed in prime numbers and all this stuff, and it seemed like he would be more cautious, but he's firing, he's too close, he crashes, and he dies. And we're about an hour into the movie, so halfway through the film they kill off Jamie Foxx's character. Now, maybe that was meant to be surprising, but it's like, oh, you killed the black guy off, huh? Was it a horror movie? No, I'm goofing, but I'm not, but I'm goofing, but I'm not, but I am goofing, but I'm not. But it's just like, oh, you had to kill him off, huh? I'm like, he's the best actor of the three, and you kill off the best actor of the three. That was one of the primary mistakes. Of those three, who's the best actor? The guy in the fucking middle. He's in the fucking middle. You should have made him the star. I think this would help the film a lot. And I did also because it's much easier to film F-16s in the days of Iron Eagle and Top Gun, or helicopters. It's not as easy to just have a fucking stealth bomber that you can use any way you want. Thus, a much more CGI extensive use is going to be utilized. Thus, it's not going to look as neat or as awe-inspiring compared to, hell, what they did in Top Gun Maverick, which is a better movie than this. I guess I'm not ranting and raging on it because it's charming to me in a weird way that they use such a big budget to do this B-movie idea. For some reason, sometimes that just charms me. I don't know why. This idea of, yeah, it's a stealth bomber that's Hell 9000 and went insane. That's why I wish they pushed that even further. But then Jamie Foxx dies. I think that was a big mistake. Jessica Biel's plane is damaged. She has to parachute. And I get that she has to keep talking to the command to tell her what's going on. To tell them what's going on. But the way they did just made it seem ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm in the middle of debris. Oh, I'm falling. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to get out of the way. Oh, my parachute's on fire. Yeah, my parachute's on fire. And my ass itch, and it's itching so bad, I'm going to have to itch it, I'm going to have to scratch it, and I'm about ready to sneeze. I just sneezed, and then I think I bit my tongue. Yeah, I do think I bit my tongue. It's like, how much more you don't want to narrate? Shit. So she lands in North Korea. The rest of her bits of the film plays off almost like it was Owen Wilson behind enemy lines, which I thought was a better movie than this. Then Josh Lucas is chasing down Eddie. Kind of a funny bit where it's one of those fuel things in the sky. Eddie can't get the fuel, so he shoots it off, and the gas is just spraying everywhere in the sky, and is able to just jettison its thing into the gas that it's shut off. Right, you would think shooting it would have sparked the explosion, because that's still where the gasoline's at. You think shooting it, but I guess he shot just enough of it to not create any sparks to... Try doing that. Again, this thing is floating in the sky and it has all this gasoline, and you shoot the tip to blow it off so gas is spewed, but it didn't blow anything up. Whatever. I guess it's an AI. I guess it's the best of dead shots. And then Josh Lucas is following him. He hooks into the other thing to refuel. It's nice that Eddie waited long enough for Josh Lucas to get refueled before Eddie decides to shoot this thing and create this big whirlwind of fire, which looked kind of neat. I will even, for 2005 effects, they look kind of neat, as over the top and as ridiculous as it is. And sometimes I like those kind of movies. Geostorm or Gerard Butler is silly and it's over the top, but I had a lot of fun with. Same with Volcano. Sometimes I could be charmed by that kind of stuff. This I thought was less successful in that. So you have the ring of fire, gas explosion in the sky. Then you have these like Russian planes because they're going to the airspace, and then Eddie's like, we need to work together. I'm thinking, really, Eddie? You can't take care of these two planes yourself? Must be a shitty stealth bomber. But now it's like, no, we must work together. So they do work together, and the stealth bomber's damaged. Josh Lucas gets Eddie to trust him. They go to Alaska. But by this point, Sam Shepard's like, we know this is up shit creek. We need to keep this quiet. So Sam Shepard's hired people to kill George Lucas's character. So you get this bit where George Lucas is almost injected. He fights some people, shoots some people, gets Eddie back online. They work together while Eddie's blasting more Incubus. So if you're a hardcore fan of Incubus, this could be your movie. Like I said, this even has a music video, Make a Move. So if you're a hardcore fan of Incubus, the best explosion in the movie is when they're in the hangar and they blow open the door and you have this massive explosion and people are flying back and cars are flying back. Beautiful looking explosion, I'll say that. Beautiful. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, okay, you have this B-movie idea with a stealth bomber, but then it's like, okay, now they're working together, and now he's not so bad because he was just confused and he feels guilty about killing Jamie Foxx. He's guilty about doing this. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for that direction in the story. I know, but it's just like, I would prefer just the psycho stealth bomber that's insane and, I don't know, voiced by James Spader. Can you imagine that, a psycho stealth bomber voiced by James Spader? I just, in a way, kind of like what you would do later in Age of Ultron. You know, voicing a psycho character. I don't know, just... Maybe that could be his thing, where it goes through all these movies and sees like a James Spader movie and changes his voice to James Spader. I wish it was more over-the-top fun, because the premise itself is goofy. Now, people say maybe it's not as goofy as you've seen, because now we're much more in the day of drones, and how drones work, and also all the talk about artificial intelligence, whether it be artificial intelligence writing scripts, or all this other stuff. So maybe people think this could be more prominent nowadays. I don't know. When we live in the world of Terminator, then I'll agree with you. So pretty much they work together. They go... Eddie is now the good guy. And they go in. And it's not even like, okay, now we're going to get some big action scenes where Eddie is going to shoot all these planes down. It's like, no, they get to North Korea. They find Jessica Biel. They shoot one thing in the mountains to clear some bad guys. George Lucas gets down the ditches to Biel. Eddie self-sacrifices himself, flies into a helicopter because he has no more ammo left. And then we're getting to the end of the movie. So, like I said, with this kind of film, and here's the other thing, it's written by W.D. Richter. This is the guy that wrote Big Trouble in Little China, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai. So you would think his script would be a lot more quirky, wittier, smarter, more off the beaten path. Like Big Trouble in Little China is pretty crazy and over the top. Same with Buckaroo Banzai. So it makes me wonder that while his name is on here, W.D. Richter, I wonder if you asked him if he would say that this film got rewritten a lot, but his name was on it. I could be wrong, but I was a betting man, I would bet money on it, because I'm like, there's something more to this. I don't know if anyone's ever asked W.D. Richter on Stealth. They'd be like, were your script rewritten? Because, I mean, you wrote these weird, quirky, over-the-top movies that were fun, and this seemed like it could be one of those, potentially be one of those. I think it would be better if it was one of those, and it wasn't. And while I could watch it for, again, enjoying the idea of Because this is the type of idea that if it was done, it would usually just be subjected to the cheapo budget of the Asylum or Sci-Fi Channel. But at least with the big budget, there's more polish to it. I think you get actors like Sam Shepard and Joe Morton and Jamie Foxx and cool Biel explosions, and so I wouldn't really say I was that bored with the film. You know, I like the equipment used, and I didn't for 2005. It's rough around the edge of the CGI, but you know, I could watch it and grin or laugh a bit at it. Like I say, it's dumb and kind of fun, but it's not a film I would defend either. I think Rob Cohen, I think Triple X and Daylight are much better than this. Blue Thunder. I don't know why I keep thinking of Blue Thunder. It's on my mind. Way better than this. Like I said, I don't think this was ever meant to be a Star Fox. That game, adapt to a movie. That was never his intention. No. And I don't know. It seemed like you could create like more fun like dog fights and action set pieces, and the ones it does is just in a weird way it is kind of take itself a bit too seriously at times. So I don't know if that was really the right decision with this movie. And like I said, killing off Jamie Foxx was a bad decision as well. Making Eddie the sympathetic villain, he's misunderstood. I've seen that done. I mean, granted, both you've seen done. The absolute evil AI and the misunderstood. You've seen that done both. In this case, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it, actually. Sorry, had a brain fart there, but I could take it or leave it. I could watch it, not watch it. I've seen better, I've seen worse. It is what it is. So with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.